So I want to talk a little bit about teacher research. It seems like those two words are kind of an oxymoron. Like, what do teachers and researchers have in common? Seems like they're pretty incompatible roles. Researchers work mainly in universities, teachers work in schools. Researchers get one kind of training, teachers get another kind of training. Researchers generate new knowledge, teachers apply knowledge generated by other people. Researchers get paid to ask questions, and teachers get paid to answer questions. Yet, over the past 25 years, a quiet revolution has been taking place in the field of education in the US, in England, and around the world. A movement to empower teacher researchers. And the teachers who are presenting their research today are joining a growing network of teachers around the world who are helping to redefine who gets to generate knowledge about teaching, what counts as research, and what it means to be a reflective teacher. If we think about teaching and research not as roles but as processes, we can begin to see more similarities than differences. Teacher research unites two sides of teaching, the doing and the wondering. I wonder what Sammy means when he says that 5/5 is larger than 4/5. I wonder why Megan always forgets her homework. I wonder why so many students raise their hands before I even finish giving the directions. I wonder how my students think about God. What would happen if I let the students observe the chrysalis and generate their own scientific theories before I tell them about the butterfly's life cycle? I wonder who understood my lesson today. Teacher research begins when teachers start to define inquiry as a regular and expected part of their teaching lives, when they ask questions about their practice and in particular about their children's learning, and then they try to find out. In truth, good teachers are always learning in and from their teaching. There's no way to know ahead of time how particular children will make sense of a particular lesson or learning activity. So teachers have to find ways to discover what their children understand and what they find confusing. Nor can teachers anticipate how every activity will go. So they need to try things and see what happens and make adjustments on their feet. That's part of what makes teaching such a challenging and complex practice, that you have to make a lot of in-flight decisions. And unlike lawyers and doctors, you don't have one client at a time. You have a classroom of children. You're responsible for all of their learning. And you have to figure out in the moment how to navigate so that you're attending to the needs of individuals, but you're also managing the group. It's not easy. So teacher research, I think this description that I'm trying to lay out really represents what I would call an experimental stance toward teaching. And teacher research is a kind of stance or an orientation, a questioning and curious attitude toward the world that leads to inquiry. Inquiry is a state of being engaged in what is going on in the classroom that pushes you to better understand what's happening. Teacher research advocate Eleanor Duckworth captured this outlook when she writes, "What you do as a teacher about what you don't know is, in the final analysis, what determines what you will ultimately know." Inquiry is motivated by a general interest in what's going on here. Teacher research makes private conversations and individual intuitions about teaching public, grounding them in local circumstances and the personal experience of teaching, as well as disciplined processes of inquiry. And that's the stance that animates the projects that you're going to hear about today. Each of the students framed a genuine question about some aspect of their teaching that was puzzling them or bothering them or giving them a big headache at night. They wanted to understand better how to fix a problem, how to understand something that was puzzling. They collected data about this problem or question. They analyzed that data. They read what others have to say about the same question. And they pulled together a story to tell you today about their inquiry. Going public with research, with teacher research, is the final step. Teacher research is not about generating earth-shattering findings. It's about arriving at insights that can lead to better teaching and deeper understandings about teaching and learning. The projects that we're about to hear about are the culminating project of a very intensive MAT program, carried out in the midst of teaching responsibilities and coursework and homework and some family responsibilities. So it's an impressive accomplishment. And that's why everybody looks so tired, at least everybody in the graduating class. But they're also going to be looking very happy pretty soon. Happier in 2 hours maybe than they are right now. I had the privilege of teaching the teacher research course to the public elementary and Delit MATs with my colleagues Neely Perlmutter and Ora Minder, and I was inspired by the persistence and thoughtfulness of these teacher researchers as they sort of pulled together what they had figured out and packaged it to share it with you today. I'm confident that you will be as engaged by their inquiries as I was, and it's, I think, time to now move to our rooms and to hear what our teacher researchers have learned.